Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Karnak, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Steven.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are the four of you? How are the three of you doing? How are you doing today, Brad?
I'm peachy keen.
I'm glad to hear that. How about you, Brandon? How are you doing?
I'm tired.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going around. How about you, Steven?
I'm doing well. Lots of snow up here in Ohio. So
yeah, we got more snow than what was called for here as well. It just kept snowing overnight, and they were saying that there was not going to be much snow at all, and they were lying about it. This was just for those of you who are listening, we had a very severe rain event in West Virginia. Where most of us live in Charleston, it wasn't as bad, but just a little bit south of us, there was cataclysmic flooding. So, I actually, because of my work, I had to work about a 13-hour shift yesterday on a Sunday, and that is why we missed our usual record, and why this is coming out a day late. So.
Fred,
we've had.
Did you see
Oh,
pictures?
yes.
Did you see pictures of downtown?
Yeah. A water main broke in downtown Charleston.
Oh, was that just from a water main? I assumed it was the rain.
No, that was not the river. That was a water main.
Oh, okay.
If the river was in the town like that, we would not. We wouldn't have power. We wouldn't have anything. Right.
I didn't think it was the river, Fred. I just thought it was like local flooding.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
to be fair, were the pictures you saw of the Capitol Market? Because that floods when it sprinkles outside.
No, it wasn't the Capitol Market. It was one of the main
Was,
roads.
it was Lee Street. It is a major highway in downtown Charleston was flooded, quite badly. So, we are cleaning up after that, but that's not anybody out there's concern. There's nothing to worry about. We're here to talk about Marvel Crisis Protocol. So let's begin by talking about the upcoming tournaments. So the first tournament that we're going to talk about in March is on March the 1st, and that is at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. That is our local game store, and we are having it early in the month because we want to get a little bit of practice in before the Akron Brew Brawl on the new Crisis cards. That is something else we need to talk about this episode. It's that there's a bunch of new Crisis cards. So, we are going to be running this tournament early. It's much earlier than our usual monthly tournament, and it is so that we can practice some. Then, coming up on March the 15th is what I previously mentioned, the Akron Brew Brawl. This is the final BECC qualifying event. It is also going to be played with the new Crisis cards. That means that the old Crisis cards, some of them are rotating out, and there are quite a few new ones. I believe that those are all of the tournaments that are coming up that I know of. So let's move into our AMG news discussion. How do we want to handle this? Do we want to go through every Crisis card? Because that's going to be a lot of... I think that's going to be a lot of just talking at our listeners. But some people find that helpful. I don't know.
I don't
Brad.
think we need to read them, but we should hit on all of the ones that will be tournament legal, which is 8 out of 10 of them.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the salient point.
Yeah. Go a quick overview of what it is and maybe what we think it's going to do to the meta, maybe who's good at it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So let's start at the first one alphabetically, and that one is Deadline to Destruction. It is a 16 threat secure, and this is just a secure. It's not a pay to flip.
Correct.
And you can interact with the. There are 4 of them, and you can interact with the objective pieces to cause a damage to an enemy character who is holding an extract within range 3 of the detonation console. And they get the choice to drop it, so that like you can target them with this effect, and then they can choose to drop it. And if they don't drop it, they take 1 damage and gain 1 power. As a Web Warriors player, I hate this one. This one's bad.
Yeah.
This is bad for me.
This is the kind of thing I wanted to talk about. Bad for Web Warriors. It's a diamond, like a D, but the side ones are so much closer.
Yeah, it's not a proper D. It's pretty close. This is going to play pretty close.
I haven't put this one on a table, so I'm not sure. Can like a medium model with a medium move between these pretty easily in like 1 move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think so, that they're close enough, and long movers get to them no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a close-up fight. This is where a lot of the attrition players are going to play. They're going to pick this one, and Web Warriors are going to hate it.
It is the lowest point level now because all the 15s are gone. It's fairly close, and it's anti-scenario. I think you've hit the nail on the head, Fred. I think it is going to be an attrition pick.
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
My spider foes love it.
Yeah, you're going to love this one.
This is more tricks and traps. I can imagine Venom standing on one of these points and just pulling people 2 points to where they don't want to be, and then other people doing damage to them. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I can picture Miles having 2 health and one person starting on one of the secures, pinging Miles, and then moving to another secure to contest it, and pinging Miles again and dazing him.
Fred, that's your fault. You should not have Miles within range 3 of 2 of these at any point.
I'll tell you right now, it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Like these are close enough together, and the action is all going to be happening in the middle. And I bet what I just said is going to happen quite a bit.
Because if you're on one of them, you're outside of 3 of another.
I will
but
also
you could be within 3 of multiple of them without
so
a whole lot
keep
of
Miles on 1 point, and you'll be okay.
Okay, all right. I'll keep that in mind in the chaos of combat.
I would also like to point out that it does help some scenario teams equally as the attrition teams, because steal teams would love this too. People that want to steal stuff and run away. Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
If they run far enough away, but then...
Well, if they start their activation with the power and somebody's on 1 and they drop it, then pick up long away. That's all you got to do.
I think it hurts them more than helps them, but...
Right, but
we'll
I'm saying
see. We'll see.
It's more a 60-40 than a 75-25 is what I'm trying to point out.
I agree with you on that. I think that is more where they're going with the design space, is they're going for less extreme versions of the supporting attrition or supporting scoring. Now, everyone out there, there's a few other things that we kind of glossed over. All 15 threat crises are gone. They're gone. That sword base is gone. Gamma is gone. Is there another one? There's another one.
Researcher.
Research station is gone. Yep. That's the other one.
Just for the full list, demons also gone. Paranoia also gone. Pearls overrun city with spider people also gone.
Yeah.
So that's the full list.
Portals.
But...
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of adjustment for people because there are quite a few lists that kind of depend upon that down the middle strategy that the E's provide.
Oh yeah, E's
and
are out too.
Yeah, the only E that still exists is Montesi formula,
which only matters for turn 1.
Right. Yeah, because you grab it and run away. So this is going to change the game quite a bit, and we will see how that affects everything. I get this game shifts and changes quite often. This is going to be a big shift, I think. The way that they've taken some of these crises out and added this whole added this whole stack of new crises. All right. That was Deadline to Destruction, the first of the new crises. The next one, alphabetically, is Guardian Save Shi'ar Empress in Style. This is also a secure, and it is a pay-to-flip at a threat value of 17. I believe we talked about this one? I think we have.
Yes,
I think
this is the only one. Only secure we talked about. We talked about a couple of these before, so we can skip this one.
Yeah, we can
go
skip
back
this
to
one.
A couple episodes ago.
Right. Then we have Inhumans Deploy Advanced Weaponry. This is an extract at 18 threat. There are 4 extracts laid out across the center of the table in a layout that's never been used before, but they are all in the middle line. So you have to run up and grab it. These are basically energy-based Montesis. Because they
that's
give
exactly
you
what they are.
Yeah, because they give you access to a beam 3, 6 dice attack that is energy instead of mystic, and you can't add dice or re-roll the dice at all. So that's essentially what this one is. It is, I think, fine. Like I don't hate it. I don't hate this at all. It would give me access to a lot of energy attacks.
It sure does. The Venoms hate this.
Yeah, that's true. Agent Venom does not want to see this. I just don't play him on this crisis. I've got plenty of other options.
Yeah. Just a quick check. Brandon, you awake over there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Fred hasn't stopped talking the entire time, so I was just gonna.
Well, I apologize. Is there a take that you would like to give on what we've discussed already?
You kind of got to it. I think this is actually a pretty good one for Web Warriors.
Yeah, I don't
legitimately
hate this
gives
at all.
them this is one that gives them a chance when you have to play combat, because these are usually attrition based scenarios, and this one actually I feel like can put them in play, especially where it's energy attacks. Like, it's rare that a team is just super strong energy wise.
Yeah, this is
right.
I mean, Montesi is awful for you. This is fine. This is good.
Yeah. Montesi's real bad for me, but this is not. Okay, let's move on to Macran Crystal gets Heroes Home. Mcron. Okay. All right, you're going to correct me on the spelling of this nonsense word. Pronunciation.
This is an X-Men thing. I know this one.
Okay. Is this another pay to flip?
Yes, this is the new sword.
This is the new sword. Yes, this is at 19 threat. It's laid out similar, but
it's the same shape.
Is it exactly the same?
It's the same.
It is the same as sword base. Okay. And it is also the same rule that you have to roll 1 dice if someone's contesting it, and on a crit hit or wild, you flip the point. And if no one's contesting it, you just control it. And the only difference is that instead of doing the push for the person who has who has more of the consoles, like sword base, you if you are holding an extract, you gain 1 power.
If you were
You're contesting one of the
contesting it in
secures,
the power phase.
Right. Which I like quite a bit, actually. And it's a pay to flip, which, while not ideal, I think I've got game into as a web warrior.
I played this one on Thursday, and it feels fair, and it does incentivize you to keep near those the secures if you have an extract. Like, you feel like you get a big upside with that extra power.
Right. Yeah. It's so similar to sword base. They just said, let's do sword base again.
They said, let's do a sword base that doesn't punish you as hard for not winning it.
Right. And also is not 15 threat.
Yeah, and it's not 15 threat. But they could have just made sword base 19 if that's all they cared about.
Yeah, you're right. They could have done that.
Brandon, is this where you want to say that all pay to flip should work like this, or do you want to save that for the next one we talk about? That's a pay to flip.
This is exactly how all pay to flip should work, and it's really frustrating that they don't work this way.
I agree. I think it's that you could ostensibly fail to flip a point even if nobody is contesting it is annoying. But is that the what you mean? That
yes, yeah.
If no one's okay, you don't
we
mean
all
that
agree.
all of them should be. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it seems dumb that you could skull out of flipping a point that's not even contested, and that could change whether you win or lose a game.
Oh, I have lost plenty of games on sword base because I couldn't flip an objective.
Well, if
it's contested, it's contested.
Yeah. What I mean is if it's not contested. If what you're saying is true, then on sword base, you would have flipped it if it's not contested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just making sense because you said like it feels bad when you like skull out. Like it does. It feels awful. Like when you're unable to get a single success.
Right.
When you have multiple dice to do it, it just feels worse. So.
Right. Okay, so that is Imcron crystals. Let's move down to scientific samples found in discovered universe. This is an extract. It is D. This is just on a D setup. So there are 4 extracts. You can only hold 1 sample at a time. And once per turn, when you're holding a sample, after you're... Oh, hold on.
If you roll a skull...
Yeah.
If you roll a skull, you get a power. Once per turn.
Does that mean that if... I think... Is it Dr. Voodoo who... Oh, no, it's Mysterio, isn't it?
No, it's Beast, Shuri, and Dr. Voodoo. If they roll skull, they will get 2 power.
That's fun. I think that's pretty fun.
But if Mysterio rolls a blank in a skull, he will get 2 power. Yes, that is correct.
He gets them on blanks. Yeah. Okay. But it's any time you roll dice. Or I guess once per turn, but it could trigger on any time you roll dice. So that could generate quite a bit of power over the course of a game.
Don't forget the second part, Fred.
Oh yeah. The probably more important part. If all of your characters who are holding an extract are within range 2 of a secure objective, you get an additional victory point. So this is the replacement for paranoia, where you can score an extra victory point, and this is better than paranoia because this is harder to pull off.
It's
well, not if you only have 1 character.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of the rubber banding. This has like a built-in rubber band effect, where if you are holding all 4, it's tricky to pull off because you have to have all 4 characters within range 2 of a secure objective. But if you're only holding 1, that's easy to do.
Well, the thing is with this one is that where it's on the D storm, you can have someone sit on like the home point away from everything.
Well, it's an
extract.
extract.
Matches up. Yeah, I'm just saying if the secure matches up.
Oh yeah.
You can have them sit like back on your home point, and you're getting 2 points a turn.
If
3.
you don't get any other extra
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Having only 4 extracts on the board makes this really easy to do.
I mean, it is easy to do, but it's tougher to do than just having him within range 2 of any other friendly model, like Paranoia was.
Paranoia, though, like, you could daze someone. Like, you really can't, it's harder. You have to daze the person with it. So, like, if Hulk picks up one of these and just sitting on a point, like, he's going to get you those 3 points.
You could push him, throw him, advance him. Anything to get him outside of 2, and you've prevented that extra point too. That was true with Paranoia as well. If you move models around, and now there's less ways to prevent that movement.
Yeah, I feel like this one is a better balance because it is harder to pull off this one if you're holding more objectives.
Just random thought here. Do you think all of the Brothers in Battles players will start playing Wolverine and X-23 in the Wolverines card?
I don't know what that card does.
It makes it so you can't move them, and buffs their attacks. It might buff their defense.
It's Brothers in Arms for the Wolverine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, maybe. I've never seen that card played. So.
Yeah, because Wolverine used to be bad. Maybe it's a time to play it.
Okay. I think you should try it out, Brad.
Maybe
I think you should try it out. Let's move to the next one. Terrigen, or do any of you have anything else to say about that one? I'm kind of rushing through these. I apologize.
This one is going to get abused. Like, I know I think the scientific samples is going to get abused drastically.
Okay. I mean, I fully intend to play this one. This one is one that I put into my roster.
I think there will be often 6 points scored off of it. Between you and your opponent.
Wait, yes,
Yeah.
between you and your. I was confused with because I was thinking to myself, how do I score 6 points off of this?
No. A net 6 points, which is a lot of points. That's a Senators.
Right. Yeah, it'll be a high scoring Crisis. But this one it's the replacement for Paranoia is kind of how I see it.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Where I plan on playing this one, I think it's better than Paranoia.
I actually think it's better than Paranoia.
I hate you so much.
That's on you. I don't know. Like, this is probably the best extract we've ever had for that leadership, and it's not even close.
For those of you who are listening, he is talking about Kingpin's leadership.
It's not even close. It is so far and beyond probably the best extract we've ever had for that leadership.
I hate it.
Because every single one of your models will be contesting a secure objective.
And they all have pushes and throws, and, like, it's...
Yeah, you're going to love this one. This one's bait for Kingpin.
That's what we
All
need.
Right, let's
better
move on
Kingpin.
Yeah, I know. Let's move on to Terrigen Canister's Fuel Doomsday Device. This is an extract that's laid out on an old F-type. So there are 5 extracts in the game. And every time you pick up one of the canisters, you roll your physical defense on and if you do not roll a crit or wild, you gain poison. And then additionally, if you're holding an extract, you have to move slow.
Fred, how much are webs gonna hate this?
I hate this one so much. This one's so bad for me. And they're 5. I would usually love that.
Yep.
This one's terrible for webs. This one is a webs destroyer.
The slow isn't that bad because of all the places you have. But the poison sucks.
Oh man, it's real bad for webs.
Inhumans are eating.
It's not bad for Spider-Woman.
That's true. Spider-Woman's immune to poison.
Yeah, there's a bunch of models immune to poisons. All the Hulks, the Inhumans, all the robots. Colossus,
Omega Red.
who's a robot. Omega Red's a robot.
Captain Marvel? Is Captain Marvel immune to poison?
Yeah, she's Kree. Ronan too.
Yeah.
Rogue.
So all the models that are slow movers and immune to poison are going to love this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The only problem with this one is this one is going to be very much like a trap for, like, I don't know if you want this if you're playing against Web Warriors, like, because it's still 5 extracts.
Right.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be holding most of these extracts by the end of the game.
And almost all their characters can place, so if they're not gaining poison on every single one and they're able to just web swing around, like, it's still going to be really tough. So, like, this is one I'm not sure we'll see a lot of play.
You might be right. This might be one of those ones that's kind of like in the middle. I
think the people who do play it are gonna abuse it. They abuse the fact that they're immune to poison, but it'll be
Inhumans
niche.
100% play this.
The only thing with Inhumans, if they were civilians instead of assets, this is a slam dunk. No questions asked. You want to play this every time if they're civilians. But
if they were civilians.
Yeah. But that means Quicksilver can steal one.
That's true.
Especially if you like double move up and grab the middle one, and then Quicksilver goes and steals it turn 1. He's not immune,
Namor,
but he doesn't need to be.
Right. Namor can also make you drop this.
Yeah.
With his spender.
Not an Inhuman, so I don't know how that's relevant.
It's not. All right, so let's. So that is Terrigen. Canister's power doomsday device. Let's move on to Unexpected Guests Crash Royal Wedding. This is an extract. It's laid out on close to a B. It's close to a B, but not quite. So there are 4 extracts, and
is this
during
one
the power phase.
This one's is this the F that has no middle?
This is the F with no middle.
It's an F with no middle.
Yeah.
Yep. That is exactly what this is. Okay, so it is if you are holding one of the extracts during the power phase, if you are not within range 2 of a secure objective, your opponent can pick a secure objective and may push that model towards that secure objective short. This is terrible for webs as well.
Just stand near the secures, Fred.
Yeah, but
this one is great for Inhumans. Like, the other one was good for Inhumans. This is like the best one for Inhumans.
It's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good for spider foes and their trap list.
It is. It's pretty good for anyone who this is another, I think, an attrition list friendly extract. Because
go ahead, Fred. You finish and then I'll
my thought is anytime that your opponent is running away, you can pull them towards you during the power phase.
My point was similar. I do like the subtle design here of you're always bringing people back into the action no matter what. Like, no matter where they are, you're pulling them back into the action instead of just like sword base where it was often used to push people out of the action. You can't do that on this one.
You're pushing them towards where everything's happening.
Yep.
I hate it. I can't run away with Black Cat anymore. I can't have Black Cat just run to the corner of the map with one of these, because she'll just get pushed back.
Only short,
Yeah, that's true, but that short makes a difference. That short could be the difference between being in range and being out of range. All right, well, so that
you just have to activate them close. Like, where it happens in the power phase, it makes it a little bit easier to then prioritize like what you're going to do, who you're going to act with. Especially if you have priority.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Wedding Party Targeted. It is loading. Targeted in Terrible Attack. This is a secure, and this is Mayor Fisk, but slightly different. There are two secures laid out very similar to how Mayor Fisk is laid out.
they're way further apart, which Fred is not mentioning.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
I did not know that. These are way further apart then. And they bounce around similar to how the Mayor Fisk do. But when they are within range 2, how does this work exactly?
After your opponent places them when you score, it strips 1 VP from everyone within 2 of it.
What
power?
You mean
power? One power.
One power,
not 1 VP.
And 2 of the VIP.
Huge difference.
Big difference there. Power.
It strips 1 power from people within range 2 of it instead of range 1.
Which means
it's nowhere near. Oh, sorry.
Which means if your opponent took it and you place it, you can place it touching your people and outside of them, and they still get the negative side effect, which is way better than Fisk, where you have to put them on the point to do the bad thing. This one, they just have to be kind of close.
Right. And this one's bad thing is nowhere near as bad. This or stun and 1 damage. Oh boy, that was so much worse.
Yeah.
Mayor Fisk is still in the game this is not replacing Mayor Fisk. This is simply in addition.
And
this
some
is
people
in addition to Mayor Fisk.
Some people will be playing
Don't
both
worry,
of
we're
them.
playing both of them.
Yeah, I hate it. Kingpin is going to love this so much.
Brandon, are you playing Kingpin at the next tournament?
I don't know what you want from me.
I have to change. I have to change my list then.
Gross.
So I'd like to note something on these new secures and extracts is that when they kind of did this the first time, they got rid of 14s, and we never saw a 2-threat again.
That's true.
Now they got rid of 15s, and I believe going forward, we'll never see a 3-threat leader again.
That's a bold claim.
No, I'm willing to stake my Longshank score on it.
I think 3-threat leaders are kind of a mistake anyway.
There are very few of them, but
they've all been really good except for the one they made with a leadership that doesn't work.
We haven't seen one in a while, have we?
Baron Strucker is not really good. Baron Strucker.
Put your tongue back in your mouth.
Strucker just gets better and better every time they release anything.
That's true.
He is a lot better with Abomination.
Yeah, like it feels like every other release, it's like, even these cards, like there are a lot of these cards that Strucker Hydra is like really good on. Like the poison one.
Yeah.
The poison one.
The thing that I will say is that the last technical 3-threat leader we had was New Mutants card.
Oh,
yes, Magic.
But that was a card. But that came out before this. I'm saying after this.
Yeah.
we will not see a printed 3-point leader. We might get a card leader, but we will not see a
The
printed
last
3-point leader.
I think the last one that had it on their card might have been Baron Strucker. It's been that long.
Strucker, yeah.
Because I'm looking at
Yeah.
them now. That's so long ago.
That's like 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's a while ago.
Shit, I think you might be right. I went from a non-believer to believer very quickly.
Because 16 fits the play style where you have a 4-threat leader, and then 4 threes, right? If you want to go one.
Yep.
Right. So, I think they're trying to get out of the low point values where certain teams took advantages, wide teams took advantages, and tall teams took advantages. So, and part of that is just kind of bringing everything to the middle a little bit.
Yep. Okay. There are 2 more of new crises that we need to talk about, but they are not tournament legal yet. Currently. And those 2 are ship security breached in Royal Rescue. This one is a 20 threat extract, and it is laid out the same as Scrolls, with 4 and 2 of them real close to the center point, but offset just slightly. And these are key cards, and the way that they work is if you are going to interact with a secure objective, you still have to pay the cost to interact, but after the effect is complete, you are refunded 1 power. So it is very good for people who have first class.
Right, and that's why this card will never become legal until that card gets rotated out.
Or Mystique leadership. No, they actually said that it just isn't interesting unless you can interact with the secures. So unless it's a pay to flip or it has a different interact, it's just not interesting. That's what they said.
Is that that's not they are putting it in the packet, so it exists. The reason it's not going to be tournament legal is because they may be planning to is exactly what Stephen said, I think.
I'm just telling you that's not what they said.
You're right. Okay, I think that AMG is an unreliable narrator sometimes.
They designed these in pairs for the event kit.
That is clear.
They designed these in pairs. The other half of this one is something you can interact with in the campaign. And they designed them first for the campaign, and then they said they went back and looked, which of these can we make tournament legal? And they just said this one was too boring. Now, it could also be that they thought it might be a problem, but they did not say that, and they did for the other one say they thought it was going to be a problem.
Okay.
So,
I don't think that it would be a tremendous problem. I think it would just benefit. I
was so excited for it. I was gonna play Mystique and X-Men. Like we're going in.
And there's one more, and that one is Strike Team secures shield relay. This is a secure, and is it a pay to flip? I believe it is a pay to flip.
It says the word control, so it's a pay to flip.
I opened it and I'm trying to talk without giving any dead air, so I couldn't just read and talk. It's difficult to read and talk at the same time.
Sure. Frank.
Well, so this pay to flip is the one. Characters within range 2 of a generator they control may re-roll 1 die in their defense rolls, and you roll your physical defense when you try to flip it, and it's the same pay to flip rules. So why is this not tournament legal? Is there some interaction that I'm not?
Did you read the second part, Fred?
The what part?
The second part, the reroll defense die.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Is that devastating of a problem that they can re-roll 1 defense dice if they're within range 2?
If you're an Inhuman, if you're Zemo,
Yeah.
If you're a scenario team, if you're Webs,
yeah, Webs.
like,
I mean,
yeah, that's the problem, Fred. They thought that this would too heavily favor scenario teams.
Okay.
It's wide. You get defensive re-rolls. Like,
it is wide. It is quite wide.
So.
All right, that's fair. It is.
Imagine.
It does benefit, and it especially benefits Web Warriors.
Imagine Amazing Spider-Man on this scenario.
Yeah, it would be real tough to kill anything close to Amazing Spider-Man.
And then he's got that long move and just goes and flips 3 of them on his turn.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're careful with long move, medium base on a D, I think you can flip 3 in a turn.
I think you are correct. So yeah, I get it. That is why this is not tournament legal. This may not ever be tournament legal.
Is everybody excited about these new Crisis though?
I am. I'm so excited.
I am too. I like that these are going to be new things in the game. It's going to change things up, and that means that games are going to be different.
Mm-hmm. Is everybody excited that they're doing this on a yearly schedule now?
Yes.
Is this has it been a year since their last big errata shift?
They going forward. They're going to put out they're going to put out a like themed scenario pack with a story yearly and shake up the meta, which is good because it's been so long since we've got an update to the Crisis cards.
I think they're also kind of saving themselves a little bit of trouble because they were printing all these what do they call them, the scenarios where you have special like separation anxiety. I forget what they call them.
The event packs or whatever.
Correct. I think these are replacing those too, because you can play this narratively.
You sure can. They didn't say that they were going to stop doing those in anything I've heard, but they could be, and they're just not announcing that they're stopping them. They Will Schick said he said he can't announce what the next one's going to be next year, but that it may relate to the biggest animated series of last year that may have taken place in the 90s. So I'm real excited.
What if they did the Strife line? Remember when Strife was going around his cable and Mr. Sinister was in that?
Yep, that's Executioner's Song from the 90s.
Okay.
So what they do, I listened to an interview on a different podcast with Will Schick, is they pick a storyline and they do a bunch of research and they like get the beats and stuff and figure out, like in this case 5 like battle plot points and then base the Crisis around the actual story. So if we get one based on X-Men 97, it'll probably tell the story of the first season, the big battles there. So there'll probably be like a Madeline Pryor one, maybe a whatever, and then the big fight with Bastion at the end. Spoilers.
Gosh, Brad, I haven't seen that yet.
That is a lie. If you are someone out there that has not seen that show, it's amazing.
Oh, wow. They could even do something like a Secret Wars with this.
I bet that they will do Secret Wars. Wait, which Secret Wars do you mean?
The first one.
I don't think they'll do that one. I think they'll do the new Secret Wars.
Okay. Well, that would give them time to like do touch-ups on characters. But anyway, I digress.
Don't we all?
All right. Well, I did not know that this was going to be a yearly thing, so that is exciting. We're going to have a new set of crises every year, theoretically.
That's what they
Which
said. So if you trust
will be
them,
fun. Note my previous statement that they can sometimes be an unreliable narrator.
I don't think narrator is the word you mean. I think you mean source.
Well, yeah. All right, let's move on. So there we have some games that we've played recently. Specifically, we just did a tournament in South Charleston. We had six people show up, and we only went 2 rounds. So the pair down won their match.
Spoilers.
So
Lost.
spoilers.
Pair down lost their match.
Oh, the pair up won their match. The pair down lost. All right, so let's begin in round 1, and let's start with the game between Brandon Akers and Brandon Hart. So, Brandon, you want to take this one away?
Yeah. Sure. He's playing Black Order, I was playing Midnight Suns. We were playing on Intrusions as the secure and Paranoia as the extract. We played at 19?
Yes, yeah. You played at 19.
I played Elsa, Man-Thing, Dracula. Who else did I play?
Did you play Adam in this game?
Yes.
I did play Adam, and in Contu, Iron Fist. Played Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Iron Fist was the 3 I played. He played Thanos, Ebony Maw, Supergiant, and Baron Zemo. I think it's Baron Zemo, because Baron Zemo didn't do anything. I'm pretty sure that's who he played. I just don't remember. I'm trying to do math. 8 and 5, 13, and then Supergiant and Zemo. Yeah, that's who he played. He was able to move up and pull Elsa off the far left objective with Ebony Maw because he got his trigger, and then was able to just take her out. I didn't get to do a whole lot of anything with her in this game. The rest of the game was just kind of fighting for points, trying to keep him off of points, and maneuvering kind of people around. Man-Thing just kind of sat over on the right point the entire game. Literally the entire game, I think. I don't think he ever left that portion of the playing field. Ebony Maw did the Lord's work in this game. Thanos kept everybody in position the entire game. It was a really close game. It came down to turn 6. Finishing, I think, like 17 to 16.
It was 19-7. I've got Longshanks open right here. It was
there was like a 2-point gap.
19-17.
Yeah. I only had Man-Thing left at the end. He had Thanos, and I think he had everyone but Zemo still alive. There was a play where I didn't pay enough attention to what tactics cards he had which could have altered the game a little bit, but we don't do takes. He tried to allow me to. He was like, no, if you didn't know, like you can do this, and that was not how that was going to happen. I wasn't going to go back, but it unfortunately did. Could have possibly, like I said, he played great, and like it was a great game. I think I just beat myself up about it. I just gotta pay a little bit more attention, but it was a really good game. I love playing Brandon. This was a game that was interesting in the fact that like none of us really spiked, but none of us rolled like defense dice. Like it was just like this game where you'd roll like 6 dice and you get like 2 to 3 successes, and then your opponent just wouldn't block anything, and you would deal like 2 damage. That was like the entire game was just like a bunch of just like nickel and diming.
Okay, I mean, his Black Order probably. I mean, based off of what you said about him scalpeling out Elsa Bloodstone, that probably put him ahead in positioning. For the rest, the entire rest
and
of
he
the game.
didn't use Thanos as like a weapon. He used Thanos as like someone who could just put all his people in the right position, which worked out really well, and it enabled him to get 2 attacks off with every one of his characters every turn, which is very beneficial.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Brandon. Hey, Brad, are you ready to talk about your first game?
Sure. I played against Borka. We played at 19 points. It was it Gamma? No, it was Demons, and you're gonna have to help me out. Fred.
It was Intrusions and Hammers.
Oh, it was Intrusions and Hammers. It was Demons for my second round. We'll get to that later. Intrusions, and before the game started, I told Borka that this might be a monumental game because I have never lost with Intrusions with Apocalypse. I've won every single game I've ever played with Apocalypse on Intrusions. And so Apocalypse was kind of a menace this game. There was early on, I think it was round 2. Borka felt like he had to use the Cabal card to get rerolls, Dark Rain, to get rerolls to take out Apocalypse. And he tried that with Ultron, and I used both of my recalibration matrices to keep Apocalypse alive. And then he did a lot of work, and then got dazed, I think by Zemo. But then he didn't have that card for my flip side. He had Ultron 2, Red Skull, Zemo, and Dracula in the game. I had Apocalypse, Colossus, Psylocke, Blob, and Toad. And he was putting most of his effort in taking care of Apocalypse. He did end up flipping him. And then he went with I had got Baron Zemo. That's one of the people that Apocalypse had got. And so he was powered up. He did I'm a Baron After All at some point during his activation. And basically got full rerolls on 2 big attacks against Apocalypse. And because Zemo had to give him bleed, Apocalypse lived the second attack. And then I went with Apocalypse, and I killed someone. It was either Baron Zemo or Ultron. I don't remember when Ultron died, if he died. But I killed someone on the middle point. It probably was Zemo because I didn't have anyone else to attack. So I teleported over.
I think it was Bullseye. if memory serves.
It was someone. I was thinking it was someone who hadn't gone, so maybe it was Bullseye. And then I teleported. I rolled to teleport, and I wanted to go over and hit Red Skull, but I failed the roll, the teleport roll. So he put me. This is my last power, I think. He put me in front of Dracula. Oh, no, I chose not to roll again because if you put me in the middle, I'd have no one to attack. So I was like, okay, I basically have to one-shot Dracula, or you get Apocalypse here, and then proceeded to one-shot Dracula. So now Dracula had a little bit of damage on him, so it wasn't from full, but it was like 4 or 5 damage I had to put on Dracula, and he was dead. I don't think Dracula got an activation this game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Was all this said, like, the back and forth was really good this game. It was a very close game, but like Apocalypse living at that last moment. There's also a point where Colossus was in the middle. I teleport over beside Red Skull, and Colossus was war. So I made 2 war attacks into Red Skull and dazed him before he got to activate that turn. So that was also a crucial turning point moment. But there were several of those on both sides. Like, something would happen, and it's like all the games completely shifted to the other person, and it just went back and forth. It was a good game. And I was sure I was going to lose this game because I had a game against Sporka on Thursday, and the first 2 rounds were close, and then the 3rd round I dazed literally everyone on his side and scored the whole board, and then the next turn went just as bad for him, and I won. So, still undefeated on intrusions.
And you were worried that the karmic swing back would happen on this game, but
it did not. Yeah. So he's got my number, Akron Brew Brawl, for sure.
Right.
When it matters more, he'll beat me.
Right. Okay. Well, that sounded like a great game.
It was.
My first opponent was against CJ. And that means that this was a Web Warriors versus Web Warriors mirror match. I brought a list that I probably will never bring against anyone but Web Warriors. I brought Miles, Spectacular Spider-Man, Namor, Agent Venom, and Moon Knight. A very odd list. It does not include Black Cat. What?
I said the moon haunts you.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And CJ played Spectacular Spider-Man Miles Morales. He played Black Cat. He played Spider-Woman. And he played Toad and one other model that I don't remember what it was. But he was whiter than I was. So I was pretty sure I would have initiative the entire game. And I was right. And it was very relevant. So, in this game, he on round 2, he used his all webbed up, and he used it to get my Spectacular, and he succeeded in doing that. And he also all webbed up Agent Venom and Miles Morales. He chooses to do as much damage as he can to Miles Morales, and just by sheer luck, he does not daze him. He fails to kill Miles Morales with his Miles Morales. The next round, I come back hard, and my Agent Venom on the first activation dazed 3 models. He placed himself in such a way that he could beam 2 of them, and then did an attack, which finished off one of the 2. And then he threw a building at Toad to daze Toad. And that set me in a position where I was basically going to run away with the game because I was in such a strong position at that point. This game went great for me, and I played a very similar game against CJ on Thursday, and that game, CJ crushed me. So this was like the inverse of that game. And I think it all came down to who does their all webbed up first. And whoever does it first will lose, is what it seems like is the is how it will play out. Anyway, it was a great game, but it was a case where I won 16 to 5. And that's purely because Agent Venom killed the world in this game. All right, that was my first round. Let's move on to the second round of this tournament. And let us start with Brandon. Hey, Brandon, do you want to talk about your second game?
I want to say that I'm proud of you for playing Agent Venom.
Agent Venom was great in this game. And I'll say this.
I feel like I've been pounding that in your head for weeks now that you need to play him into like your weird matchups.
You were correct. I
Brandon,
think he's fantastic.
I got to remind you about something here. About your first game.
Sure.
Elsa Bloodstone cannot get kidnapped by Thanos.
Yeah, it was Ebony Maw.
Oh, what did he do to her?
The trigger on her thing. It was I realized that he couldn't have done it way later.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, she was already dazed and like we were already too far in when I realized it. I had never played Elsa. And I played her and I like forced her to play in both of the games in this tournament. But I had not played her prior to that.
Yeah. She was immune to Thanos. She's immune to a lot. She's not immune to pushes or throws.
Which I believe
Maw advances you short. No, it's advanced short.
It's advanced, yeah. Because I thought it was a push, and then I think it was the second time it happened. Mm-hmm. It was like I looked at it and it said advance. I was like, oh shit, that shouldn't have happened the first time.
Yeah. All right.
But that was way later.
Okay. Well, I was just reminding you in case you play her again. So.
Yeah, I did. I played her in this game. Because I played her in both games. Against round 2, I played CJ. And we played Hammers and Infinity Formula.
That's correct.
And we played at 17 because I expected him to go 5 threes and a 2, and I kind of wanted to put him in that spot because at 18, I think he would have started considering playing multiple 4s, and his 4s are really good against me. And instead, he played 5 threes. We're good. This is the conversation I've had with Fred numerous times. He does not have Agent Venom in his list, or he did, and I don't know how he has not gathered it by now. And this isn't an insult to him in any kind of way, but I have screamed at Fred that if he ever plays against Midnight Suns, you have to take Agent Venom. Like, he is by far the best piece in that matchup for Web Warriors to have. Without Agent Venom, the game feels a lot easier. I think it's a rough matchup regardless. So we played 17. I played Elsa, Blade, Encantu, Man Thing, and Iron Fist or Cat. I think it was Iron Fist. I had to play a third 3. It was Iron Fist. I played Iron Fist. Because there was a point where Iron Fist had 10 power on him, and it definitely put him in a weird scenario of trying to figure out what he needed to do to not get someone just murdered. The slightly relevant thing is he was able to put 3 people on each side. He had Toad, Miles, and Spectacular on the left side. He had Gwen, Iceman, and Black Cat on the right-hand side. Elsa got dazed on turn 1 again in this game.
Wow.
Yeah. Just 4 dice, range 4 attacks. I don't really. It's it was not a fun. I don't. It is. It was just one of those where he was able to walk up. He attacked with Gwen, I think first. Ghost Spider, not Gwenum or Gwenpool, but Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy. Um, and was able to like impact webbing from an angle and like kind of move her off to the side. And that was the second one. So the impact webbing did like 4 versus 4. I think it did 3 damage. I think he had like 6 successes on four dice.
Goodness.
He was rolling very, very hot at the beginning of the game. Which at the end of this game, the last turn I did roll really hot, which was really unfortunate. We found out one thing in this game. The Elsa leadership being able to pay a power and boom every turn. Which for people who don't know Elsa, you can pay a power. If it does, your attack gains the choice of one of the following effects. Boom is before damage is dealt, each other character within 2 of the targets suffer a damage. I can't tell you. I did like at least being able to do at least 2 damage spread across 3 characters every turn guaranteed, especially because I did not roll any offensive successes for like the first 2 rounds. Like I stayed in this game because I was able to put 2 to 3 damage on all of his characters. Just being able to boom. Like I could attack Black Cat, putting a damage on Gwen and Iceman, then attack Iceman, putting a damage on Black Cat and Gwen, and now all of a sudden it's like everyone has at least 1 damage, and being able to do that 2 rounds in a row. Now all these characters are very easily in strike range, and there is a very relevant time where that is essentially what happened. He had to kind of force move his characters away from each other. To get out of range of the boom. And Kantu and Blade were on the left-hand side, while Man-Thing and Elsa were on the right-hand side with Iron Fist, I believe eventually. Yeah, Iron Fist came to the right-hand side, who also got... there was one time Iceman beamed, I think in round 2. It was 5 dice. Hit 2 of my characters. That was when he dealt the 4 damage to Elsa, and then he dealt 5 damage to Iron Fist.
Holy crap!
And he didn't do like he only did like 2 to Man Thing, so Man Thing just healed it back up and moved on with his life. But yeah, it was a fun time. He dazed Blade too with an impact webbing from Miles. These were the parts of the game that were not fun. However, Spectacular Spider-Man not having stealth and being able to do a range 4 Mystic attack with Encantu just took out Spectacular Spider-Man. I did set myself up. I think it was round 3. He got ahead pretty hard after round 2. He had all 4 hammers and 2 of the objectives. So going into round 3, I was able to Siege of Darkness into Blade having 10 power, being able to Siege of Darkness on Blade's activation, which took out Dazed Toad, killed Spectacular. I think I ended up dazing Miles. I think I dazed like his entire team through this, like during this round. Everyone was either dazed or dead, which then allowed me to get all 4 hammers and all 4 infinity formulas, just based on just weird scenario, and that was
it might have been round. I think I sieged in round 3, and then round 4 is when like I killed or dazed every single mob. That was the game where the dice decided to swing back a little bit, and was able to kind of take everything back from him. The game was good. Like CJ played really good. I don't think he did like the one decision he did that I don't like. The most incorrect thing he did was not taking Agent Venom. But like he played this game good. Like the dice were early on helped him, build a good lead. But he was really good at staying away. He was trying to stay out of range 3. I did. I think when I dazed I did daze Iceman with the card for Elsa. What's that
The trap
called?
card?
Covering fire. Yeah. Um, so I rolled like 3 wilds on 5 dice, so that was a fun little thing that happened. But covering fire really good. Dimensional Quagmire was not good. It just didn't do anything. I didn't expect it to do a whole lot. The more I've thought about that card, I do think it's more of a trap than anything. But I do think Man Thing's absolutely great. Having healing factor 2, immunities to hex and stun. When he's defending, you don't add dice for crits. He's a tough one to get through. So, and he can give you incinerate on like accident. So he didn't need a good tactics card. So, but I know I thought that card was going to be really good, or at least playable. I'm not sure it is anymore after playing it. It's really easy to play around. It is situational. It's one of those things where it might be good if you think your opponent's just going to take off and run away. I don't know if that's a good enough situational thing to keep on deck.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I guess, like, when we were thinking about it, theoretically, that card seemed really strong just because we were thinking about how it would affect someone trying to run away.
But usually that's not... Go ahead.
Usually that's not how games play out. Usually you're going in on someone, or you're fighting over something.
The turn I did play it with I played it and Covering Fire on the same turn. It did force him to play a completely different game, because that was right after he got all his points, and he could have tried to run away with the people that had hammers, because 2 of them were on, like, right in front of, like, literally within 1 of Man Thing. So it did force him to do something completely different than he wanted to do. I'm just not sure it was good enough. I mean, that game might have been its best case scenario, was the way I looked at it. It prevented, I think, Black Cat or Gwen had a hammer, and so did Iceman. So it prevented them from running away, forced them to sit there and try to attack. That's not really what they really want to be doing. So it was kind of a interesting scenario for him, unfortunately. The turn he webbed up was also the turn I Siege of Darkness and dazed everybody. So
okay, so you won this game. You won this game 17-12, and I'm moving us along because we've been here for a little bit. But it sounds like it was a good game, and I always like it when CJ shows up. CJ is a real good player. I like playing against him.
I gotta play 2 really good games, so it was a good time.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about my game next, my round 2. So I played against Borka, and so he was the pair up, and I was the pair down. And I've already spoiled how this game goes. I will lose this game. So he was playing his Cabal list, and he has a poisonous crisis on both sides of his crises. He has Research Station and he has Gamma. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I just need to not draw Research Station from his extracts. That's the only one I need to not draw. And every time I'm thinking that, you know that's 100% the one that I draw. So this game was Research Station and Infinity Formula. I'm already on the back foot. This is already terrible. We play at 17, and at 17 in this matchup, I played. What all did I play? I played a 4 and a 4 threes and that can't be right. It had to be 2 4s.
Yeah,
I had to play two 4s and 3 3s. Is how this had to play out, and so those were Agent Venom, Spider Woman, and Black Cat, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Miles. This he was playing Red Skull and Ultron, and he played and he played Dracula. He played Red Skull, Ultron, Dracula, and I think it's Baron Zemo. This game starts off bad and stays bad. I'm on the back foot this entire game. He's killing me left and right. I think that at the end of the game, I had 2 models left on the board, and they were already flips. Like, oh, you know what? That's not true. Agent Venom spent the entire game on a back point doing nothing because I was terrified that he would use his energy attacks to kill Agent Venom. And yeah, so I just isolated him and he did nothing. And that was a waste of 4 threat. Anyway, I lose this game pretty hard. This game ends 17-9, and it's just a real tough matchup, especially on Research Station. Especially with Research Station. Like, there were times where I really wanted to go contest the Research Station, and that would have been the wrong call because he would have just killed whoever I sent to contest it on the at the first activation of the next turn. So, oh well. I will say this: I am not going to miss Research Station. I'm as a Web Warriors player, I'm glad it's going away. Now, I know there's a lot of people that will miss it dearly because it is very helpful to people who play against a lot of scenario-focused teams, but I will not miss this extract. Not one bit. All right, and Brad, let's talk about your last round. Round 2.
I played against other Brandon, the one that plays back order, not the one on the podcast. And we played 19 again. It was Demons and I think Montesi, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And so straight down the middle, both of them. I played the exact same list. Apocalypse, Blob, Toad, Psylocke, Colossus. Yeah. He played Thanos, Ebony Maw, who had the Mind Gem, Nebula, and Corvus Glaive, which was weird to see Corvus Glaive without Proxima Midnight, but there's some like maneuvering on turn 1 because he's like not putting anyone on the middle, which I really want someone on the middle for Apocalypse to attack turn 1. And then at the like second to last activation, he teleports or mind gems or something Corvus onto the middle point, and so Apocalypse one-shots him.
Oh my gosh.
And dazes him turn 1. Turn 2, he's now powered up and dazes Apocalypse. So my entire team goes into Corvus Glaive to kill him. The problem with this plan is he still has a Thanos and an Ebony Maw. I do manage at some point to flip Thanos, and it has to be shortly after I killed Corvus. and at one point, Blob one-shots Ebony Maw with the Spender and Pain 2, and he's incinerated. So he's rolling 1 dice against my dice. So I one-shot him. But then after Ebony Maw flips, he one-shots Apocalypse with Ebony Maw. So I have a dead Apocalypse now. And he still, for the record, has a Thanos and an Ebony Maw. They are flipped. My Colossus is flipped. Thanos got him. Thanos and Nebula. But my Psylocke is still healthy. Psylocke fails to kill Thanos by 2 points of health on his backside. Colossus can't finish the job because he has no power. And then Thanos takes out Psylocke, flips her. And then the next turn, I don't remember which one did it, if it was Colossus or Psylocke, but I think it was Colossus did the last 2 points to kill Thanos. And so he just has Ebony Maw and Nebula. And Ebony Maw doesn't kill anyone? Or no, he gets Blob, but not Psylocke. And then I needed 2 points to win and end up scoring 3. Colossus scores 2. He's on a secure with an extract. And Psylocke can get a point, either the secure or the extract, I think, at the end of the game. And I score 3 when I needed 2. And I think he ended up at 9 points. Is that right, Fred?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, good game. If I had not won that round, he was going to table me. So,
Yeah.
So that's how that went. I just barely squeaked out a win.
That's how it goes against Black Order, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And that also means that you are the winner of this tournament because you are undefeated at this point. So well done, Brad. You won the tournament.
And Fred lost, so
I did. So that is accurate. Before we move past this segment, Steven, do you have any games that you want to talk about?
I just have one game, and it's really quick. This last Thursday, I just played one game against Robbie. He was doing a X-Men build. He was running Cyclops leadership. So that's
I love
it. Scott, Professor X, Domino, Angel, and Jean Grey. We were on.
That's a weird Scott list, but okay. I still love it.
We were on Infinity Formula and Senators. I was playing my Spider Foes, of course. I went wide with this, so it's just Goblin and all my 3s, which my 3s were obviously Mysterio, Doc Ock, Little Doc Ock, I call him, Lizard, Craven, and my new addition, Punisher.
That is a Spider Foe.
So we get to the first round, and he puts his Angel a little bit too far forward, and Doc Ock gets into him. Excuse me, and Punisher got into him. Anyway, I dazed him, and then Goblin got power by attacking Scott, and I had 3 power, so I looked at the board at the end state when I was activating Craven last, so I went with a well-laid plans, and he only scored 1 point in the first round, and I scored 4 because the objectives were on the ground. And then round 2 came around. His Angel woke up, did some things, and he did the airlift thing with Domino, but Goblin had power enough to do tricks and traps when she went onto the size 3 taco truck, and I blew it up, and I promptly dazed her on that one. It was going bad because I dazed Domino, I dazed Scott, and I dazed Professor X in that round.
That's a different podcast.
What's that? Oh,
Taco Truck.
So we called it at the end of this round because I was up 11-3. So Spider Foes again doing Spider Foes things. I've also learned that if I see a big person across from me, like Jean Grey was the big person in this one, or a Hulk or anything like that, I just throw a Lizard into him. I really don't care about Lizard. Lizard will do Lizard things, right? As long as he ties somebody up, I let the rest of my team do their work. Punisher was good because he blew up things. Just more trap damage.
Yeah, Punisher fits your list theme extremely well.
Well, I was just looking for something that did damage. Of course, he doesn't do it outside of his turn, but he does it inside of the turn. But I was just looking for a different variety of damage. You know what I mean? Not right. A repeat of something else. So you get him coming and going, basically. Plus, Blood Red and Personal can be a game changer if you're getting to the end of the game. So,
yeah, that could get you lots of victory points.
So, you'll say the game went. It was unfortunate for Robbie because his dice were kind of abandoning him, but 11-3, you understand why he calls it at that point in time. So
right,
kind of stopped. So
okay, well, we all did another round after the tournament was over, but I feel like we've been talking for quite a while.
Yeah.
So I think we should move on to the next segment.
Well, Brad, let's move on to trivia. Do you have a trivia game for me today?
I do. The masses demand it, so that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So this is how the game works. I ask Steven and Brandon a trivia question. Fred listens in, and then Fred takes the first 2 shots at figuring out who the character is. So if Fred gets it right on the first clue, Steven and Brandon get 3 points. If Fred gets it right on the second clue, Steven and Brandon get 2 points. And then finally, Steven and Brandon get a shot for 1 point. Steven and Brandon need 6 points to win. Gentlemen, do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Fred.
So now
you are not that important in the game.
Even if I do win. Even if I do win this time, I can't win because I'm not the one scoring? Is that the way this is going to play out?
Yeah, this time. That's how it's going to play out, Fred.
Well, fun. Okay.
Try your best, Fred. Steven and Brandon are counting on you. This character has appeared in the animated series Avengers Assemble and Guardians of the Galaxy, where she is voiced by Hynden Walsh, who appears in the best holiday movie ever made, Groundhog Day.
I mean, that is an excellent movie, but I don't remember a character from Marvel Crisis Protocol appearing in Groundhog Day. But
that
it has
is
been
not
a while
what
since
I
I've seen
said.
it. Oh, the person who voices the character
is also in Groundhog Day. Yeah.
Who does she play? Out of curiosity, just to give me.
I looked and it's like Mary or something. I don't know. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like one of the couple main characters.
Okay. All right. Well. Okay. Then. I thought this was sort of like last week's Adventures in Babysitting, where the character appeared. Okay. All right. Well. She is has appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers and the Avengers TV show. Is this Carol Danvers?
No.
Is this Captain Marvel? Okay.
No. Your hint. This character first appeared in a comic where this character and another character attacked the Jean Grey school looking for Thane, son of Thanos. But he wasn't there. This character later, in the same arc, controls Black Bolt to set off the secret bombs the Illuminati had planted, Maximus and Lockjaw teleport this character and the bombs to a distant, uninhabited planet where this character dies in the explosion. During the Avengers crossover No Surrender, which is a giant worldwide King of the Hill match, this character appears as a psychic projection, but is killed again in this form.
Is this Cassandra Nova?
Looking for the son of Thanos. No, it is not.
Listen. Okay, all right. Well, that is incorrect.
Okay, Brandon, Steven, you guys get to play now. Who is this?
Brandon, do you have any idea? Is Brandon there?
Brandon might be MIA. So, Steven, what do you got?
I had to go chase my dog down. I didn't hear the second hint at all. He started barking at the door.
Oh, it's the character in their first appearance went to find Thane, son of Thanos, at the Jean Grey School. He wasn't there. They then control Black Bolt to set off some bombs, but Maximus and Lockjaw teleport the character and the bombs to a distant planet where they explode and this character dies. And then during the No Surrender crossover, this character is a psychic projection, but then is killed as a psychic projection.
You got any idea?
I do not. And the first one is that she was in Groundhog's Day.
No, the actress who voices her in a couple cartoons was in Groundhog Day.
If I've got a question, if they both seed the answer, can I answer a third time?
Yeah, if they don't want to make a guess, you can answer a third time and bail them out.
Is this? Do you do that? Do the two of you do that before I make things? Is this Supergiant?
That is correct. This is Supergiant.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
1 point for Brandon and Steven. What gave it away?
Like she's one, evil, two, interested in Thanos, like Thanos stuff, and three, psychic.
Yep, yeah. See, those were the clues I had woven in there. This is the whole fact that she showed up as a psychic projection is why the Wikipedia article mentions that she is immune to physical damage, which is why they gave her that superpower.
Okay.
But they didn't make her a psychic projection in the game, so it doesn't really make sense. Anyway, congratulations, Brandon and Steven. You have 1 point. Your second trivia question. After Thor dies in the Fear Itself storyline, this character becomes Terranos, the Thunder God, and gets help rewriting history, so he was always the God of Thunder. Only a few people remember the old history, including Loki, but several of the Asgardians figure out something is wrong because Terranos doesn't act like how they remember the Thunder God acting in the past.
Is this? I'm in the world of Asgard. Is where my head is. That might be a bad place for it to be because this doesn't necessarily mean an Asgardian. But I am going to guess that this is Scourge, as the other villainous Asgardian that's not Loki, that is male.
That is a pretty good guess. That's incorrect. Before I said Loki remembered what the old world was like, did you think it was Loki?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
That's why I put that in there.
If you had not included that, I would have guessed Loki.
Okay, your hint. This character, hailing from Nornheim, has a magic weapon he has used to fight against Thor and Hercules. This character is the strongest member of his race.
Okay, Nornheim?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is Nornheim?
That's a great question, Fred. It's where the Norns live. if that helps.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's helpful. I also didn't think about Malekith. He is also a male, evil, Asgardian flavored person.
If it makes you
But
feel
I think
better, Fred, I will get this right.
I think he's from. Is it Elheim, or where are the Dark
I'm
Elves
not
from?
helping
They're not.
you.
Okay. All right. Well. Maybe I'm. Good. Crap. Is this Heimdall?
That is incorrect.
Okay.
Okay. Brandon
Well,
and
I
Steven,
missed my 2 shots.
you got a chance to get 1 point.
Well, Brandon, you know it, so go ahead.
I do know the answer because when this character came out, I had no idea who they were, and I did weird amount of research and on this character. This is Ulik, better known as Ulik.
Yes, it is Ulik. So, Malekith is from Alfheim.
Alfheim. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Ulik.
I didn't think
troll.
about Ulik, the other evil flavored Asgardian.
He's not Asgardian. He's a rock troll. Also,
Right.
Malekith not Asgardian. He's a dark elf.
Right.
You did only guess
flickering.
Asgardians, even though you were in the wrong realm completely.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, famously, Asgardians from Asgard.
Yeah. Thank you. That's helpful.
Well, the second hint told you they weren't from Asgard, so there's that too.
So that was a pretty good hit. Loki.
Yeah. You're right.
Loki, not
if he wouldn't have said the
Asgardian.
name,
Also not from Asgard.
if he wouldn't have said the name that Ulik goes by when he gets when he becomes the god of thunder, it probably would not have struck the chord in my brain to remember that weird bit of information.
Oh, okay. I thought
because that's also one of the coolest names.
That I thought, it is pretty cool, and like it's not gonna help at all, so I threw it in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely wasn't gonna help Fred, but it is definitely one of the cooler names.
Your third trivia is: this character was shot in the spine and paralyzed. This was a great blow to this character since his powers greatly revolve around the use of his legs, and in general, he takes great pride in his physical prowess. This character had to take on a more advisory role in his group because of this, a position he was not suited for except as a moral center. This character was later healed and was once mutated to a beast-like state with a lion's head and uncontrollable rages.
Oh, crap. Okay. Who? All right. They've lost the use of their legs in the past by being shot in the spine. They take great pride in their physical prowess, and that is. I have no idea who this is. Ah, crap. Is this Captain America?
No. Your hint.
Okay.
This character's first appearance has him leaving his isolationist society to venture out into the world to save his amnesiac queen, putting him at odds with Human Torch of the Fantastic Four. This queen is also the wife of this character's cousin.
Also the wife of this character. Okay, hold on. I've got to remember all of the Scott Summers family lineage now, because No, that's not correct. That's not correct. They left their isolationist society, and that wouldn't be.
And they are a person who is this. I've got nothing, man. I have no idea. I've got no clue. I'm gonna just guess Gambit.
Weird guess. That is incorrect. Brandon and Steven.
I know it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't got nothing.
It's Karnak.
Wrong one. It's Gorgon.
It's Gorgon. Ah.
It's Gorgon.
Gorgon. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got
I like how Fred said that like he was insulted.
he's got goat legs, and he stomps them to make earthquakes. That's his power. That's his power.
Gorgon has never been a moral center, by the way. I'm
He
sorry.
he is when he's in a wheelchair. He like takes on the role of like mentor of the young Inhumans, and he definitely tells Medusa several times that she's basically doing evil. Like it's weird.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's
it's
comics.
weird.
Don't
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah, he like cools off. He's not as angry, and he's like rational. It's a completely different character. Okay. So, Fred, you have a chance to save this for your friends Steven and Brandon. So, they have 3 points. I'm going to give you a question, and it'll give Steven and Brandon, I want to make that very clear, 3 more points for the win. Okay, you ready,
Hold on.
Fred?
Where do they have 3 points? I believe that they should only have 2 points.
You got the first one for them. Brandon got the second one, and Steven got the third one.
Steven guessed Karnak, didn't he?
Oh, shoot, he did guess Karnak. 2 points. So, for 4 points, Fred, and giving your friends the win, what do these characters have in common?
I don't have any idea. I don't have any clue. I've been sitting here knocking my head against a wall since I found out it was Gorgon. And so it's Supergiant, it's Gorgon, and it's Ulick. And I don't have any idea. What do they have in common? They are probably 3 of the least in common ones that I can think of. Do they all have a weird movement? No. I don't think Supergiant has a weird movement. Does she? Do they all have...
Supergiant does not have any out of action movement. On her card. I don't know if she has a tactics card that does it.
Brad, if you don't get this, I'm going to have my spider foes beat up your web warriors.
I mean, that's what usually happens, for the record, but...
There's only one thing I can think of that they have, and I don't know if it's
Fred,
right
I
or
need
not.
a guess.
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
Please, I'm going to tell you the
Brad,
answer.
are you still there?
Fred, I need a guess.
Hey, Brad. Are you... Okay, you are still there. Okay.
I need a guess.
You need a guess?
I need a guess.
Okay, the guess is that it is a bad idea to use physical attacks into any of them.
That is
my guess.
It's a bad guess.
I do know it.
Okay, Steven.
They have spenders that either cause stagger or have a stagger trigger.
That is correct. You didn't even have to say that they have spenders that do that. They apply stagger.
Okay.
Yeah.
They
give us.
I did not think of that. Okay. I don't know Supergiant at all. I have not thought about Supergiant in a long time.
Her spender has like a stagger and a stun trigger, but then it also has a
activate,
kill you or daze you.
Yeah, the
it
super
doesn't have
trigger.
an auto kill trigger, but you have to get like
an
insane. You are KO'd if they get an insane.
If you're injured, it either auto dazes or if they're injured, it auto KOs. But it's crit, wild, hit, skull.
Oh wow, that's
costs 8 power and it's only 8 dice.
Okay, so it's a bad attack.
It never works against Hulk or She-Hulk.
Right, that's where you would want it to happen, and it never happens.
It does auto daze them.
True, but
okay. Well, that is the trivia section, and it sounds a lot like Brandon and Steven lost.
Brandon and
It
Steven
sounds a lot
did
like
lose.
you two lost. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm never
Real
doing an
rough.
escape. I'm never doing an escape room with Fred. That's for sure.
I am good at escape rooms, for the record. All right, well, let's move right along. Hey, Brandon, you didn't get a chance to talk about King Black Bolt. Why don't you tell me what I did wrong in our King Black Bolt?
His tactics card is good. That's what you were wrong about. His tactics card is good. Any card where you can get free victory points in an affiliation where you have other cards that get you free victory points. Like you can have a 4-point swing in your power phase within humans now. And getting to 12 points is not difficult. So setting yourself up to have 3 tactics cards, or 2 tactics cards that get you free victory points, is really good. And you can set this up to where you can use this on turn 2 to reposition. So you can use this on turn 2 if you're down by 2, like against Web Warriors. Probably going to be down by 2 on after turn 1. So on turn 2, setting up Black Bolt, getting him repositioned for the rest of the game, but also putting yourself in a point of getting 2 free victory points on a tactics card. He then can continue to gain power off of the power phase, sets himself up on an objective. You're probably not going to be able to kill him if you're playing like Web Warriors or another like scenario-based team. And then he can set himself up for a huge turn 3, where you're back in the game because you just got free victory points. And if you have civilians on the battlefield, being able to use the other tactics card, which I believe is Terrigenesis, that's the one that gives you points.
Yeah.
And then he can just kill things. Something else that was mentioned is like Black Bolt 1 is very good. I'm not taking that away. But Black Bolt, Medusa's leadership is very, very good. So being able to play Medusa's leadership, and depending on your points, get either King Black Bolt or regular Black Bolt is a very good problem to have for an affiliation.
That's fair. And I believe that Brad said the exact same thing when we were discussing the tactics card, and I still
did. Yeah, no, you were the only one that was wrong on that. I
did.
told you that when I saw you after the data hired. So there's also a real scenario where you can play Killmonger in this affiliation and get 6 victory points in 1 turn without actually scoring points, and it would not be that difficult.
I know I mentioned Killmonger in that episode, and it may have been
I was
literally
screaming.
to play him.
When I was watching it, I was like, I don't know how they're not thinking of Killmonger, and you did bring him up towards the end of the talking about it. But
I'd say Punisher might be better.
Yeah, I think Punisher fits in really well too. Yeah,
Let's go.
The problem is Inhumans have so many good tactics cards.
That's 4 tactics cards tied up already. Let's go.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Yeah. If it wins you the game, Fred, who cares?
It's fair. All right, Brandon, what are you going to give him as a letter grade? What would you give King Black Bolt as a letter grade?
I think he's a perfect 6th threat model. I think he's exactly what you want as a 6th threat model, and I think this is definitely the
goal
path they're going down with 6 threats going forward with him and Gladiator, because I feel like they're about the same. One thing that was mentioned is the increase the volume is his 2nd attack. So he has Sonic Blast, Wrath of Midnight King, and then he gets increase the volume, which is just a 3 powers builder or his gainer spender, because it makes his beam 4/7 dice, which I do believe Fred mentioned at some point. But yeah, I think he's really good. I think he's right in line. He is under health for a 6th threat at 15.
But he reduces.
Rolling all 4 defenses, having a reroll and damage reduction. He's not going to be easy to kill. He can also cure conditions off of himself. So he's definitely got things going right for him. But yeah, I think he's really good. He's going to see a lot of play in Inhumans. I don't think he'll be splash much, so I'll sit with a B+.
B+, okay. I'm moving us right along into the person that we are here to cover today, that person being Karnak, otherwise known as Karnak Mander Azure. His defenses are 3 physical, 3 energy, and 4 mystic. He has 5 stamina on both sides of his card. He's a threat value of 3, size 2, and a medium mover. And Brad, why don't you do his attacks?
He has 2 physical attacks. The first one is Shattering Strike. Range 2, 5 dice, 0 cost. After attack is resolved, gain power equal to damage dealt. A Wild Push. After attack is resolved, push the target character away short, no size restriction. His second attack is Let Me Show You Your Flaw. It is range 3, 7 dice, 4 power. When calculating successes for this attack, this character adds the number of skulls in both the attack and defense roll to its total successes.
Okay. Hey, Brandon, why don't you do his first 2 superpowers?
Yep. First one is Meditate. It's an action. You gain 2 power. You can only use it once per turn. It is free. His second is an active superpower, Teachings of the Three Worlds, for 4 power. After another allied character within 3 makes an attack or defense roll during the Calculate Successes step, this character may use the superpower. The allied character may add up to 2 of their skull results as to its total successes.
Okay, and Steven, why don't you finish out the card?
Sure. Next, we have a reactive superpower called Pinpoint Weakness. It will cost you 2 power. After an attack, after an attack against this character is resolved, or this character resolves an attack and may use the superpower, place a weakness token on or move an existing weakness token to the attacking or defending enemy character. This character may only have 1 weakness token in play at a time. You have an innate called Analyzing Strike. When this character attacks or defends against an attack from an enemy character with a weakness token, character rolls 3 additional die. After the attack is resolved, the weakness token is removed. Innate Inhuman, this character may re-roll 1 die in its attack or defense rolls. An innate Martial Artist, when this character is defending against a physical or energy attack from within 2, this character adds blanks in its defense roll for its total successes.
Okay. First things first.
Shouldn't Teachings of the Three Worlds be a reactive superpower? It is currently marked as being an active, but yeah.
That's a mistake.
Okay. Yeah. So, he's interesting. He's an interesting little 3-threat model. How often do you think Teachings of the Three Worlds do you use?
I guess it's so expensive. It costs 4.
I think that's the answer. You don't. Not very often.
Yeah.
Dire circumstances if you have enough power.
Right.
You can use it when you have a Killmonger and you're trying to get 2 free victory points.
You can do that.
Yeah. I like that he has Meditate. I mean, he will use that when he's not. I guess that's a round 1 thing. He'll use Meditate. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, do you want to be using up this guy's actions meditating?
You do it on turn 1.
It is something you can do. You're probably not doing that often.
It's an option. Yeah. I like his weakness token. I like that he can, if he's attacked, he can just put out a weakness token, and he gets 3 additional dice on either an attack or a defense. Now, does that say once per turn?
Well, you get the weakness token goes away if you add the dice.
Right, but what I mean is, could they attack you once, and then you use the weakness token on the second attack against him, and then could you trigger another weakness token on that attack, so that if you were to punch him back? I think so.
You could use the weakness and then pay for pinpoint weaknesses because they do not happen at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I think that's pretty solid. Like, you would weather the first attack, then you would have 3 additional dice on a second attack on your defense roll, plus an inhuman reroll. And then you could punch back against this model on your turn with 3 additional dice.
I think it actually gets better than that, Fred, because often if someone already has a weakness token on them and they're probably going to attack Karnak to clear the weakness token. So you'll get 3 dice on their first attack.
And then you can do it 3 times.
Yeah, put out another one, get 3 dice on their second attack, and if you have enough power, put out another one, and still hit them for the plus 3 dice, the thing they were trying to prevent in the first place.
So what you're saying is that's not a good strategy. Don't try to clear it. You're just going to have to weather it.
It depends on how much power Karnak has.
Yeah. That's
because like
true.
With the 3 extra dice, you might not be doing any damage to him, and so as long as he doesn't have the power to put the token right back on you, it's fine.
If he is soaking attacks that should be going into other people, he is a great 3 threat. That is a great.
I don't think you're attacking him.
I think that you're correct.
I think models that have sap or suppressive are actually good into him.
Yeah, I'm not big on martial artist, and an innate inhuman reroll doesn't feel like someone I want to be attacking all that often anyway.
Well, not within 2.
Yeah, and then like even the pinpoint weakness, like he has to then attack, and his first attack, I mean his attacks aren't the greatest thing ever. Yeah, I'm not attacking him. If he's on the table against me, I'm just not attacking him. Like I know he can get it. Yeah, I'm just not gonna deal with him. I'm just gonna ignore him. Like I mean, the key is like I mean if he spends an attack, spends power, then can try to weakness, and then spend more power. I mean that's a lot of stuff to do, and I think that's how you play him. Because I think people are just gonna ignore him. I don't think going from like a 5 die versus 3 to a 5 dice versus 6 is not something a lot of people are really going to want to go into. And it just feels
especially
like
counting blanks, especially if they're within range too. Yeah.
And a reroll. So it's not necessarily something that I think that'll be something people learn. I think they're going to play them. They're going to realize those weakness tokens are bonkers. And I think people are just going to stop attacking them.
Great. Then
I mean, that's easy to say. Yeah, we've all played against Magic. We all know that Dark Child is devastating, and he has a physical Dark Child. It's a little bit worse, but and I think it costs more. But counting skulls in both rolls, it's the same cost. Okay, counting skulls in both rolls is amazing.
Yeah, no, it's not. There's nothing. I'm not saying that. It's just. I think he'll end up using his spender and teachings of the 3 worlds probably more than anticipated, because I think people will kind of fend away from attacking him, and then if you have a 3 that's unbothered, you can do a lot with that.
Especially a 3 that wild pushes on his builder. Like you don't even care if you're doing damage if you're pushing 2 opponents off the point each turn.
Yeah, this wasn't a knock. I think he's really hard to play against. Is really what I was trying to.
Yeah, he's
personally like,
and
he's gonna be difficult to deal with.
They absolutely nail the comics character. Like this is like giving him meditate, giving him martial artist, giving him the push, the like controlling elements, and the weakness tokens and everything. It just story to character, perfect match.
Yep. I mean, I think this guy is really solid. Hey, Steven, we've been eating up all the atmosphere here. Do you have anything you want to add to this guy, to what we've been discussing?
Yeah, all this tricky trap stuff doesn't work against my traps. So
that's true. You do damage outside of attacks.
Correct. Yeah. So I that's his weakness right there. So
throw stuff in.
Throw stuff into him.
Yep, he only has 3 physical defense, and he is no way of. If you just throw items at him, he will die.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the best way to take care of him.
But then you're not throwing items at Black Bolt, and Black Bolt will kill you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which one they're playing, Black Bolt will kill you.
I think that in Inhumans, Karnak is a great addition. Like, he's a 3-threat close fighter, which I think is something that they didn't. I mean, they have other people who can get in close, but this guy is someone who can get in close that punishes your opponents for fighting him. That's excellent. I like this guy. I think he's good for Inhumans.
Well, the big thing too is he'll probably be attached to the hip of the first Black Bolt, because you can shunt attacks onto Black Bolt, so it kind of puts you in a weird spot. Because we've all played against a flip Black Bolt, and it's not fun.
Right. That is true. There is something else that we need to talk about with this character, and that is that he has a very good tactics card. That tactics card is called Royal Guardians. It is an unaffiliated reactive tactics card. When an allied character is targeted by an attack and is within range 3 of an allied Karnak and or an allied Gorgon, Karnak or Gorgon may spend 3 power to play this card. Place the character that played this card within range 1 of the allied character. The placed character becomes the target of the attack. After the attack is resolved, if Karnak was placed, is not dazed, and there are no allied weakness tokens on the battlefield, the attacking character gains a weakness token. After the attack is resolved, if Gorgon was placed and is not dazed, the attacking character gains the shock and stun special condition. All right. And so, on top of everything we've been saying, he has a bodyguard tactics card.
He sure
And it basically
It was a good segue from my Black Bolt, then flipping, and then him being able to protect him on the backside.
Yeah, he can then protect Black Bolt.
The Gorgon version of this is better.
I agree. Yeah. The Karnak version of this basically says save 2 power because you would put the weakness token out anyway.
It says spend an extra power.
Well, no, because you're redirecting an attack. That's huge. That's the biggest part of this.
So,
that's the biggest part of this.
Fun tech, because of the way this is worded, you could play this card with whoever and place your model, and then bodyguard Karnak or Gorgon, so the attack goes into someone else, and they have placed and survived the attack and get to do their cool thing.
So you could play this card on person X. You could put Karnak out, and then Black Bolt could bodyguard it.
Yeah, and then you are guaranteed Karnak survives and is not dazed and does his weakness token.
That's nuts.
This is like the only one that has that weird wording.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the rest of them say, like, once the attack's resolved, the defending character isn't blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, this one, they have to be placed and not dazed.
Interesting.
Yep.
That is cool. That is. Do you think they did that intentionally?
I have no idea. I hope so. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious. Inhumans have access to. I mean, the Black Bolt is one of the better bodyguards in the game.
It is
just because
it is better to sacrifice a Karnak or a Gorgon to save flipped Black Bolt than what I just said, but it is very fun.
Yes. It is
fun.
fun.
Black Bolt is the best bodyguard in the game.
Yeah, because
he saves on one. Well, and the backside of Black Bolt is way worse than any other bodyguard in the entire game. Like, it is I would rather have a team full of people with bodyguard than have to go against Black Bolt on his backside with full power.
Yeah. True. Okay, so that is Karnak. We need to give Karnak a letter grade. So I like everything I see here. I mean, I think he's a really solid frontline fighting piece for the Inhumans. I gotta say, I think he's pretty great. I want to give him an A minus, and I'm worried that's a little too high. But I'm gonna give him an A minus. That's where I'm gonna go with Karnak. Brad, what do you think about Karnak? What are you gonna give him as a letter grade?
So looking at Karnak, I immediately think of Shang-Chi, and he is no Shang-Chi.
He is no Shang-Chi. There's no way.
But he has some similarities with him. He's hard to kill. You don't really want to attack him. He pushes your models away. He's a point cheaper. And I think in affiliation, he's really good. Once again, it's getting harder and harder to splash characters. So that's not what's going to get characters up to an A. And it was very funny that you're like, A minus is probably too high, because before you even said that, I was like, I think I'm going to give him an A minus. So A minus.
Okay.
He's not S like Shang-Chi, but he's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, Shang-Chi, like, that comparison, no one looks good. Shang-Chi may be the best 4-threat model in the game.
Brandon, what are your thoughts here on Karnak? What are you going to give him?
I don't know. I hate all of you actually, because I also was at an A minus.
Yes.
I almost interrupted Fred to tell him it's
I
okay.
almost did too.
He is an A minus. I think something that did you guys go over all of the Inhuman tactics cards that are in the new box?
Yes, the ones that were not character specific.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So like, there's a couple of things, like especially that helps this character out. Inhuman Royal Family is just a busted tactics card that just no one seems to remember about until it gets played against them. Karnak's on the cover of this card and will be very much enjoy spending 2 power to reroll any number of dice in one of its attack or defense rolls. I just think it's really good, and I think he's just gonna excel in the Inhumans affiliation, where the Inhumans roster is getting really close to just having like 0 fat. Like, it is a top to bottom, outside of Crystal's lingering existence of just being a really good affiliation. I mean, they've been really good for a while, but this 4-box edition is going to make them something you're going to have to plan against, I think.
Okay. And Steven, what are you going to give Karnak as a letter grade?
B.
A B?
I don't think he's going to. We'll see table time because he's new, but I think he'll fade away eventually. So he reminds me a lot of Iron Fist.
He does he does have some in common with Iron Fist, yeah. I don't think Iron Fist is fading away.
I think his partner is going to get played a lot more than he is.
Okay, so, you think Borgen's going to get the attention?
Hey,
that is the one. Yeah, that is the one aspect about this box, is that it has 2 3s in it, and we will discuss Gorgon next week.
Yeah, because they basically do the same thing, right? So in a different way.
In different ways, but yes, I see. I get the point. They play the same role or similar roles. All right. Well, we'll cover that next week. Yeah, that is our take on Karnak, on this guy.
Hey, Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature this guy?
I sure do. I have 2 for you this week. The first one is called Karnak, the Flaw in All Things. So this is, I believe, his only solo series. It's by Warren Ellis and Geraldo Zaffino. Warren Ellis is kind of a powerhouse in the comics world. I've liked everything I've ever read by him. So, and he's working with a dark, moody artist, and it works really well in this story where S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Phil Coulson has recruited Karnak to help solve a case that may be related to the Inhumans. And Karnak's power, of course, is to see the flaw in all things. Not power, because he's just a trained monk. he didn't go through Terrigenesis like the others, which is why he's not immune to poison.
He
And
still has the Inhuman reroll, though.
he does. So they must get that at birth.
Okay.
So there's I want to say a dark conspiracy. That might be overblown it a little bit. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on, and Karnak helps figure it out. Our second recommendation. That's all I had for the first one. Like, read it.
Okay.
It's buddy.
You hate Inhuman, so like this must be pulling teeth for you.
Well,
This is his favorite Inhuman.
This is my favorite Inhuman. But it's Phil Coulson and Karnak being buddy cops, in more of a noir type way than what's that really good movie with Ryan Gosling and the Gladiator?
I know it's Russell Crowe. I know what movie you're talking about, and I don't remember its name off the top of my head.
LA Confidential.
No, it's The Nice Guys.
Nice Guys, that's it.
That's a great movie. It's more like that than it is like the Will Ferrell movie, The Other Guys. It's more of a Nice Guys than Another Guys. Okay, the second recommendation. Secret Warriors 2017. So there's been a couple series called Secret Warriors. This is the one by Matthew Rosenberg and Javier Garron. In the wake of the war between the Inhumans and the X-Men, where Medusa tried to do a genocide, a new team of Secret Warriors forms. The team includes Quake the Leader. That's Daisy Johnson. She was in the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series. Karnak, Miss Marvel, Moon Girl, and Devil Dinosaur. There's also a couple other characters in there, but people like Inferno, no one's ever heard of Inferno. So this team mostly fights Hydra. So they were a team when Hydra took over the United States in the Secret Empire storyline. And so one of the storylines from this comic is them fighting against the Nazi government of America. And they also have a run-in with Mr. Sinister. But while all this like team fighting stuff's going on, Karnak has a secret plan that involves Moon Girl, and he's willing to sacrifice his son to achieve it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Wasn't this a trivia thing?
Yeah. So if you're paying attention to trivia, the secret plan, it turns out, is to install Moon Girl, the smartest person on Earth, as the new queen of the Inhumans.
Over Medusa,
yeah.
Okay.
And it totally works. And he's like, you get to be queen now. And she's like, no thanks.
She's too smart for that kind of crazy responsibility.
Yeah. Well, she's like, I'm 9. This is irresponsible. And he's like, but you're the smartest person on Earth. And she's like, yeah. So I realize I'm 9 and should not be put in charge. It's actually a great moment.
I do like that. That's good.
That's it. That's it for Karnak. Tune in
All
next
right,
week
thank you,
for
Brad.
Gorgon, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not as excited about that one.
Brandon, where do you think Karnak would fit in an affiliation that is not his own?
Oh
no, there
I'm
he is.
here. Yeah, sorry. I think you can play him and I think he could see some play getting sprinkled in attrition lineups, just because of the teachings of the three worlds and the weakness tokens. I'm not sure how valuable he is outside of his affiliation, but I do think he's going to be rather valuable inside of his affiliation. I've thought about trying him with Dracula, just making bigger characters hit harder. can really turn the tide against when you have a kaiju versus kaiju. Being able to just kind of add a couple extra damage is going to be something that could really just turn the tide of the game. It does help that he is only 3 threat. It's not necessarily as good as just adding dice because it is 4 power. You do have to have skulls to change the successes, so it's not as good as necessarily adding dice to it. So it's not something too great. Under Dormammu is something I've also wanted to do, except for it doesn't do it the same way. It's not as good because you're already counting the successes, but I think he does the other things. The weakness tokens can really come and play under Dormammu. But yeah, I don't think he's going to see a ton of play in Splashed Out, mostly because I think we're getting really far away from characters being splashed. The scenarios are going to be harder to play splash characters. A lot of the cards and stuff that have been coming out are very complementary to their own affiliations or their primary affiliations. I think the game is going towards that, which is something I've always enjoyed. I like better when you don't have to splash characters. And I think he's gonna mostly see all his time in this affiliation. I think he'll be really good under Medusa. But I also think he'll see a lot of play with Black Bolt. I think he's going to be kind of attached at those 2 leaders' hips for the beginning of, at least for a while, because the only 3 they really had in affiliation that saw play was Lockjaw, and that was very gimmicky.
He doesn't fit that.
Everything.
Like, he has a role. Like, I get what you're saying. He's got a specific tech that you are bringing him for, and it is not to be a functioning 3 threat on the battlefield.
Yeah, Lockjaw was really gimmicky. Quicksilver also pretty gimmicky. Crystal sucks. And I
Don't
think
forget
people
Miss Marvel.
I think people, I was gonna say, I think people just forget about Beast and Miss Marvel. But they are kind of, I think they're at the average 3 or worse. I think Karnak and Gorgon are both miles better than Miss Marvel and Beast. So I think it's something that'll definitely come up. I think they're going to see a bunch of play in Inhumans, and I think Inhumans are going to be everywhere.
Fred,
Okay, all
Fred,
right.
I'm raising my hand.
Oh, what's up? What's up, Brad?
Guardians of the Galaxy, play him with Drax.
Yeah, I like that.
And you play
I like that too.
you play the bodyguard card too in Guardians because it's unaffiliated.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's unaffiliated.
That would be fun. Him and Drax.
It would be. Okay. I think we've been going for long enough, so we'll just skip my non sequitur recommendation. Thank you all for joining me today to talk way too long about Karnak. And thank you everyone for listening to us. I hope that everyone has a good rest of the week. Hopefully it will be not as wet as ours has been. Goodbye, everyone.